Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 5th of November. PM Modi, Jaishankar condemn attacks on Indian diplomats and Hindu temple in Canada. 2 Chinese nationals hurt in shooting in Pakistan amid rising security concerns. And Taliban urges next US president to adopt realistic Afghanistan policies. And now for all the details. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Tuesday criticized Canada over the surveillance of Indian diplomats and the vandalism of a Hindu temple in Brampton. Speaking at a press briefing after the 15th Australia-Indian Foreign Ministers Framework Dialogue, Jaishankar said it was unacceptable for Indian diplomats to be placed under surveillance by Canada. Addressing allegations made by Canadian officials against Home Minister Amit Shah and other diplomats, accusing them of plotting attacks on separatists in Canada, Jaishankar stated that Ottawa has a pattern of making accusations without providing specifics.
Canada has developed a pattern of making allegations without providing specifics. Secondly, when we look at Canada, for us, the fact that they're putting our diplomats under surveillance is something which is unacceptable.
During the briefing, the Indian Foreign Minister also condemned Sunday's vandalism of a Hindu temple in Canada, calling it deeply concerning. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also condemned the attack on Brampton Temple. In his first comments amid the ongoing Canada-India diplomatic tensions, PM Modi denounced the cowardly attempts to intimidate Indian diplomats in Canada. He emphasized that such acts of violence would not weaken India's resolve, adding, "We expect the Canadian government to ensure justice and uphold the rule of law." Relations between India and Canada have been strained for over a year, but deteriorated sharply last month when India recalled 6 diplomats from Ottawa and expelled 6 Canadian diplomats from New Delhi. Canada has accused the Indian government of conducting a broad campaign against South Asian dissidents in Canada, which New Delhi denies. Despite multiple demands by China to protect the citizens from terror attacks, 2 more Chinese nationals were hurt in shooting in Pakistan's Karachi. The victims were rushed to the hospital, and it is being told that one of them is severely injured. Earlier in October, a bombing near Karachi's international airport killed 2 Chinese engineers in an attack claimed by militant group the Baloch Liberation Army. A decades-long insurgency in the southwestern region by separatists demanding a share in regional resources has led to frequent attacks against the government, army and Chinese interests. Pakistan on Monday passed an amendment to a law extending the terms of the heads of the armed forces from 3 years to 5 in a rowdy parliamentary session. Under the new law, General Munir, who took office in November 2022 and was initially set to retire in 2025, will now serve until 2027, regardless of the general retirement age of 64. The bill to amend the Pakistan Army Act of 1952 was introduced by Defence Minister Khwaja Mohammad Asif and had the support of the Senate. The vote, broadcast live on local TV news channels, reportedly took just 16 minutes. Opposition Imran Khan's PTI criticized the ruling alliance for bulldozing the legislation without debate in either house, stating that the amendment is harmful to both the country and the armed forces. The move by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's government is seen being aimed at strengthening support from the powerful military. Pakistan's powerful military, which has ruled the country for almost half of its independent history, holds significant influence over the stability of civilian governments in the South Asian nation. Students in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir recently staged a protest calling for a separate education board for Muzaffarabad, citing the inadequacies of the current Mirpur board. They argue that the centralized educational system fails to address the region's needs. A report.
Earlier this week, students in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir organized a protest in front of the Central Press Club to demand the establishment of a separate intermediate and secondary education board for Muzaffarabad. The students argued that the current Mirpur board, which also serves Muzaffarabad, is inadequate to meet the needs of the region's rapidly growing student population. Emphasizing the necessity of a separate board, they highlighted that even for answer booklet rechecking, students must travel to Mirpur, incurring significant costs that are unaffordable for many from low-income backgrounds. The current educational framework relies heavily on centralized boards like the Mirpur board to manage examinations and uphold educational standards. This centralization has led to inefficiencies and has not kept pace with growing demand.
हमारा मुतालबा ये है कि जिस तरह मीरपुर बोर्ड है जिस तरह मीरपुर बोर्ड है इधर मुजफ्फराबाद में भी बोर्ड कायम किया जाए। अगर ज़िले 4 से 10 बन सकते हैं तो बोर्ड भी डिवाइड हो सकता है।
जो है ना मिसाइल बहुत हैं। हम ये चाहते हैं कि हमारा जो मीरपुर बोर्ड है उसमें जो हमें हमारे पेपर देते हैं, जिन तलबात जो रीचेकिंग कराने के लिए उनको मीरपुर जाना पड़ता है, हम ये कहते हैं कि उनको यही मुजफ्फराबाद ये 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 लगा के मीरपुर जाते हैं, वहाँ पे होटल्स में रह के अपनी रीचेकिंग कराते हैं, नहीं करा सकते इनके इतने गरीब आवाम इनके पास इतना। हम ये चाहते हैं ये मुजफ्फराबाद में इधर ही यहीं पे ये वाला काम।
The education board in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has faced numerous challenges over the years, leading to significant crisis that affects students across the region. The region has seen insufficient investment in educational infrastructure, resulting in overcrowded classrooms and a lack of basic facilities. Many schools are either dilapidated or lack essential resources, making it difficult for students to receive a quality education.
Amid the US presidential elections, the de facto rulers of Afghanistan, the Taliban, on Monday called for a realistic approach in policies regarding Afghanistan. The Taliban's deputy spokesperson, Hamdullah Fitrat, stated that Afghanistan's current leaders seek positive relations with all countries, including the United States. What matters to us is that whosoever assumes power takes a realistic approach regarding Afghanistan, he was quoted as saying by Tolo News. Afghanistan has become a central topic in the US presidential race, with both Republican candidate Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris addressing issues like the US withdrawal from Afghanistan and the signing of the Doha Agreement in their campaigns. Trump has criticized the Biden administration for the chaos following the US withdrawal, while Harris has condemned Trump for signing the Doha Agreement with the Taliban. Trump has pledged major policy changes regarding Afghanistan, while analysts believe that if Harris is elected, there will be no significant changes in US policy toward Afghanistan. Ahead of general elections, Sri Lanka's ruling JVP party, the core ally of the ruling National People's Power, on Monday ruled out any coalition or national government after the polls. JVP General Secretary Tilvin Silva said it is possible to get a clear majority in the elections, making coalition rule unnecessary. Responding to reports that some parties are planning to join forces with the NPP for a post-election coalition, he said the NPP is open to talks but will not form alliances with parties that were part of previous governments. He said the NPP aspires to form an independent government with a clear focus on its own policies and vision. Under Sri Lanka's parliamentary system, any party that gets more than 113 seats in the 225-member parliament can form a government. A two-thirds vote is required only for constitutional amendments and special legislation. Bangladesh Information Technology Minister on Monday said that the Cyber Security Act will be repealed within a week and all cases filed under the act will be withdrawn. Nahid Islam, who is also the information advisor, said decisions on reforms will be made after consulting the stakeholders. About the next parliamentary polls, Nahid said an election based on national consensus will be organized after completing all necessary reforms. Regarding repression on the minority communities, the advisor stated that minorities in Bangladesh are safe. He said the previous fascist government had played political games with minorities, considering them as a vote bank. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.